October 28th, and I decided that I was done reading books. I'm in the middle of a book. I could be finished today, but I don't want to. I don't want to include it in my wrap up because I am so done with October. It's not even funny. And I am drinking tea for once. The flavors right here. This one's pumpkin spice, caramel apple, chocolate truffle, and cranberry bliss. And I made cranberry bliss because it is super good with honey. I think I have one left. So let me prepare for this wrap up. I didn't even count how many books I read. That's good. Okay, I think it's like 13 books. So let's just get into it because I want to do other things today. The first book that I read was a reread for me. I did read it, and then this time around I did listen to it as an audiobook, and that is Coraline. And of course, amazing book, amazing story, and I didn't even know the audiobook was going to be even better. Okay, so when I first read Coraline, I actually enjoyed the movie more than I did when I read the book, because there are certain characters, there's a certain character that's not in the book that I really enjoy in the movie. And if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Everybody watches Coraline, but turns out not everybody watches Coraline. So I read Coraline for the prompt for the Nightmare Before TBR readathon, which was to read a book with a helpful spirit, ghost, or person, and that was Coraline. My second book, everybody has been reading all across the book community, and of course the Netflix show is coming out, so of course I had to pick it up, and I finally read Shadow and Bone. I do have the second book, but I'm gonna get to it in November, I think. But I was really hesitant about picking up Shadow and Bone just because I am not a huge fantasy reader, and guess what? I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. I'm excited to actually get into the second book, so I am going to be reading that next month for the Lord of the Rings readathon. I'm excited for that. Anyway, if you like Lord of the Rings, go to this readathon. I'm so excited for this because I've been meaning to read Lord of the Rings, and this is my chance. This is my chance, so that's what I'm gonna be doing in November. The next one that I read is volume 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I have never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think I started, but it was just like I think it was too old for me at the time when I was younger, and I didn't watch it. But right now I'm on a old show kick. Like, I'm watching Daria again. I love Daria, and I am watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the old one. So I think I might come around and watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I actually really loved reading this. Like, that's amazing. Nightmare Before TBR, the prompt to read a book with a vampire. And it was short, it was simple, and I enjoyed it. It was perfect for October. This is the library copy, so I do have to return this soon, maybe today. Yes, I'll go today. The next book, The Treatment, and that is book 2 of the program series. I don't know how many books there are. I know there are like a few. And I listened to that as an audiobook, and I did not like it as much as I enjoyed the first one. And if you don't know what the program is about, suicide is an epidemic. So if you are having thoughts of suicide, or if you're depressed, or if you're sad, you cry, the program will take you in, erase your memories, so that way you don't attempt suicide or anything like that. When I do read kind of dystopian books, I do get invested in the story and the characters, and that's what happened when I did read the first book. But the second one was really boring to me. Like, nothing happened. It just felt like a filler of nothingness. And yeah, the next thing that I read was Witches, and I was really excited for this. And for some reason I couldn't get into it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna reread it because at the beginning I was a little bit confused, and I don't know how I feel about it. To be honest, I don't know. I can't even tell you what it's about because I feel like I'm gonna get it wrong. Towards the end, I got more into it, so I think I'm gonna try to reread and then continue with it, but we'll see. We got a visitor. The next audiobook that I listened to was book number 5 in the Sweep series, and that is Awakening. And I think if you watched my videos before, I already told you, you already know that I am obsessed with listening to the Sweep series, and you guys should listen to it if you like witches. I'm just saying, I am not going to stop until you guys listen to the Sweep series. I gave every single book of the Sweep series 5 stars except for this one. I gave it 4 just because it was just a little bit slower, not too much happened, but every single book there is something you need to know that is very important to the story of the main character, Morgan, who finds out that she is a blood witch. I'm just finding about the series now, but I'm happy that I did. It's amazing. You guys should definitely check out the Sweep series. They're very, very short. The audiobooks are 5 hours each. The covers are very ugly, but the books are amazing. Amazing. The audiobooks are one of the best things I've ever listened to. The next thing that I got through in October was Saga Volume 3. Every single time I pick up another volume of Saga, it just gets better and better. Everybody and their mom on BookTube is reading Saga, so of course I had to. I wasn't trying to be left out. I think I read this for the prompt for Forbidden Love for the Nightmare Before TBR readathon, and that was Saga. The next one I listened to was Gone Girl. Oh my gosh, I was hella bored. I was listening to the audiobook and I was just waiting for it to be over. Didn't have a good time. The next book that I read, I did listen to it as an audiobook, but then I ordered the physical copy because I just needed this on my shelf. Also, I'm probably gonna do a reread of it sometime in the future, probably not anytime soon. That is The Chain. I finally have it. So I mentioned The Chain about 3 times on my channel already before. I promise you, this will be the last time, maybe. If you don't know what The Chain is about, it's about parents getting their kids snatched up, and to get them back, they have to go and snatch up some other kids. It's a crazy ride. The very first page of the book is very gripping, all the way to the very end. I did give it 4 stars because, like I said, it's very gripping. It keeps you wanting to know what happens next. It's definitely a page turner for sure, but towards the end, I felt like there was just like too much going on. And I did listen to this as an audiobook, so it was really, really enjoyable, really good as an audiobook. But towards the end, there's just way too much going on for me, I think. And I mean, it made it interesting, but it was just like, can we stop now? The next book that I read was an audiobook, and that was The Final Six. The Final Six is a dystopian read, and I was very invested in the story and the characters, as I usually am with dystopian. But we follow 2 of the main characters, one being Leo and the other being Naomi. NASA is recruiting teens to go up to Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons, to see if it's livable. If it is, they would start like taking everybody from Earth to go to Europa. And this is part of, I think it's a duology, because the second book comes out February 2020. The next thing that I read was a poetry collection, and that is Empty Bottles Full of Stories. It is by Robert M. Drake and Artson. I related more to the second part of it. The first part, I liked some of the poems, but I liked parts of the poems instead of the poems as a whole. And I am new into reading poetry, so I can't really say like what's really good and what's bad. I just enjoy what I enjoy. I am looking to pick up more poetry in 2020, so hopefully I can create a list and maybe you guys can help me on what to read, because I love to cry. The next thing that I read was Over the Wall, and this is kind of a dystopian-ish, sci-fi-ish. Basically, there's a little girl and she is going to look for her little brother who is in the walls of this city, and it is closed off because something happened in the city, so humans don't really dare to go inside the walls of the city. Cute read, so if you want something fast and just want to add another thing to your Goodreads goal. The last thing that I read, I just finished yesterday for the second time because it is a reread this month. That's Pumpkinhead. I loved it so much. I will be rereading this many times. So next year when October comes around, you see this, don't be surprised, because this will be in my October wrap up again. I think those are all the books that I read. This is my new favorite shirt. Goodbye.